Success is like a quiet daily set of tasks. Real small. It's like that quiet walk to the library. That empty 24/7 library late at night. Over and over and over. Or as I sit there studying other great people and I compare their actions with my own actions, over and over and over. Or as I sit doing 30 minutes of meditation a day, over and over and over. Making the choice to eat foods that enhance my brain neurotransmitters, over and over and over. It's a very quiet process where you're doing these simple little tasks, but finding love in those simple little tasks. It's not the big thing where you do this one thing and something big happens. Being able to make a success out of your life, it's not purely down to luck. You have more control over it than you think. You can decide to be successful. You can decide to have the fast cars and the big house. And it starts right here, with your studying. Not because getting good grades is going to bring you success in the future. It's about the work ethic and the attitude you have towards your studying that will transfer to your work after you graduate. It's about believing that you can achieve something and doing whatever it takes to achieve it. It's about fine-tuning the skills you have to zero in on your goals. The skills that you are improving while you're studying. Work ethic, time management, reading, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, focus, reasoning, persuasion, organization, overcoming obstacles, and self-motivation. These are all skills that all great students have improved and refined over years of efficient and effective studying. And it's these students that have made a decision that when the world is saying, "That's impossible, you're not capable, your dreams will stay as dreams," they have that lone voice that goes, "No, you know what? It is possible. Just watch me." They have gone through this process of growth, and they have pushed and pushed through all the obstacles that were thrown at them. It's important that you don't think of your studying as though it's all about passing your exams and getting a piece of paper at the end of it all so you can get a good job. Because it's so much more than that. And it's the great students that understand this. It's not about your exams. It's about the process and the journey you go on and the skills you refine over the years. It's about when you don't feel like studying, but you continue to push through and study anyway. It's doing the things that you need to do, that you know you need to do when you don't feel like doing it. Because the reality is that most people can study when they're feeling good. Most people can study when they have no distractions, when they're in a quiet environment, when there's pressure put on them as a deadline is approaching. But just being able to study on the highs isn't good enough. You have to be able to study all the time. So learning how to refocus your mind on the lows and knowing the lows are going to end is a huge skill. The process is just as important as the actual prize, because the process is going to make you. The deeper the process, the greater the reward. Just remember, the prize is going to be huge. The question I get most is, how do I make myself study when I just don't feel like it? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make yourself sit down and study even when you're feeling exhausted. The way my brain works, I would rather die than not study when I know I have to. Now, of course, I don't mean that literally, but it's an important perspective that a lot of successful people that are at the top of their craft have. Will Smith said something similar. If we get on the treadmill together, there's two things. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. It's really that simple. And as Owen Cook explains it, a lot of people that are successful use death as an analogy, not because they really want to die, but rather because there's no other possibility. So when someone says, "I'd rather die," what it really means is that there's a 0% chance. So what I've found, if I have it on my schedule that I need to study for 2 hours tonight, when I get home, there's a 0% chance that I will miss that study session. Because I know that if I miss one day, then I'll go on to miss another, and then another. There's no convenient time for me to study. It is 100% inconvenient. So once I've made that decision to go, I'm going to stick to that decision. Why? Because if I fail in that decision, I will fail in my larger scale goals. Let me explain. Most people I know that have a job that they hate, they don't try very hard at their job. This is very common. And the rationalization is that my boss is a bad manager. This job just isn't for me. I don't get paid enough. But everything is practice for the big show. Everything is preparation for the huge opportunities that may unexpectedly jump in front of you. So if you can't make yourself work hard in a job you don't particularly like, how are you going to run a multi-million-dollar company as an executive director? Or save lives as a top surgeon? Or fight for justice as one of the best lawyers in the country if you can't study for just 2 hours on a night when you're feeling tired? How are you going to achieve anything in your career after you graduate? You're not. A work ethic is something that is cultivated over time, and the hardest part of it is that you're your worst enemy, because you can always give up. I mean, you still need to be flexible. If I'm really run down and starting to feel sick, and my body's telling me that I need rest, and it's an exception to the rule, then yes, maybe I can unwind and sleep early that night without studying. But assuming it's just the typical "I'm tired" excuse, then I'm going to carve out that time, because I know that if I fail to do that, I'm not instilling those habits, and it's going to affect whether I reach my long-term goal. Because those excuses will snowball, and I know you know what I mean, because we've all been there. We feel tired, so we don't study, and the next day, we feel tired again, so we don't study again. You need to rewire your brain. Train your brain to ignore how you're feeling and just focus. It's like a muscle, just keep working on it.
Being great is going to take sacrifices. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's a constant battle of going the extra mile, doing things that other people are not prepared to do, putting in the hours that other people are not prepared to put in, waking up before other people are willing to wake up, preparing for exams before anyone else in your class are willing to start preparing. It's not an easy journey. That's why there's not many people who achieve greatness, because by its very nature, only the top 1% are able to reach it. Because only the 1% are willing to pay the price. Only 1% have the attitude of a winner. Only 1% are willing to do whatever it takes. They do not take the easy way out.
You need to train your mind to push back on the negative thoughts. Train your mind to say, get up, go, keep fighting. And if that's what you become, if that becomes your gut instinct, if that becomes your natural reaction when negative thoughts pop up in your mind, you will overcome just about anything that stands in your path.